Before You Look podcast, where we are unmastering the art of overthinking, getting out of our head and into our happy. This episode, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that I found myself thinking about, struggling with, and dealing with lately as I'm trying to navigate this space of doing things that allow me to be happy and being authentically myself. And that is struggling with self-sabotage and the feelings of defeat. I actually just had a conversation with a friend of mine, my best friend actually, yesterday about feeling defeat, feeling like I was, just feeling defeated. And so I felt like, what better way to share this journey that I'm on than to share with you all some of my own personal struggles as I am, getting into a space of just wholeness and happiness and living without regret and, living in that space where what I'll talk about. So when I want to start, first of all, I'm going to start off with the whole self-sabotage. And I feel like for me, as I think about it, that feeling of defeat can kind of feed into that self-sabotagery, I don't even think that's the word, but it's going to be one today. So, God, I talk fast. I think I as I'm getting into a space of being the best version of me, exploring things and doing things that I've been wanting to do, as I'm working on myself physically, working on myself mentally, and really getting into spaces that I've been wanting to be in for a long time. It's like what I had to realize is, first of all, instant gratification is like my enemy, and it's going to take time for me to be successful in different spaces. But I also have to be solutions based, because if I find a problem that I have, I am solutions based. I'm not someone who kind of holds on to a problem. I'm always trying to find a solution to it. And while I'm navigating certain areas of my life, I'm finding that my mind is telling me to stop, you can do this later. Like, for instance, I'm writing a web series and I'm trying to do the character development. It's a process, and I know that, but in my mind, I'm like, well, I need this to be done in like a week. It can happen depending on like the characters in that, but I need to take my time because I want the characters to have like real structure. Now, I don't want it to just be some random stuff that I throw on a page. And as I was writing out my characters, kind of do some research and really understanding these characters that I'm developing for the series, my mind was like, okay, you need to put this laptop down and go take a nap. Or like, put this down and watch something on Netflix. Now, granted, I take my naps and I watch my Netflix. But in that moment, it was like, why am I telling myself to stop doing something that, one, I desire to do and I need to do for the success of like what I'm trying to get accomplished, and two, what purpose is this thought serving? It's not like I was tired and I just needed to take a nap, or I was bored and I just needed to watch something, because sometimes you're bored. Honestly, if I'm bored, I take a nap. But it was really me being in the moment, which is crazy because I was in the moment of doing something that not only needs to be done, but something that I enjoy, which is my storytelling, my writing. And me in my head telling me to stop, because even as I think about it now, I was in the moment of getting something done and I was telling myself to stop. I think about that as a more recent analogy, but I also think about something that I've kind of encountered on my journey beginning into my own personal development, my own healing journey. As I told y'all before, I'm going to touch on this, when it comes to therapy. When I first started my therapy, something that it's in my journal. I still have the journal. I started journaling. It was a part of my routine. My routine was to take my son to school, go to the gym, and then come home, journal for a few minutes, and then get online and do my work. I remember as clear as day that I sat down at my table and I wrote how I was feeling. And I'm like, I had a really feel like my morning was productive. I said, right now I feel happy and I feel at peace, but I don't know what to do with this. And I always think about that because those feelings come back to me. They come back. Sometimes they hit harder than other times. As I, earlier as an intro of this episode, I talk about the feeling of defeat, which is a different kind of feeling. But as I was in that moment, I was like, I'm so used to chaos and drama that it's been so normalized in me. And it's been so normalized in me. I'm so used to chaos and drama that it's been so normalized in me to the point that what I'm really supposed to be feeling, which is happiness and peace and, the sense of calm, it's not normal. I don't know how to deal with this. And in me, I honestly, in all honesty, when I said I don't know how to deal with this, the next day I thought to myself, I need to sabotage this. I need to do something that brings back the comfort, quote unquote, of the chaos and the drama. Makes absolutely no sense because I am one who love piece of peace of mind, happiness. I'm not someone who enjoys drama, but I realized that I've been surviving in it so long that's what that was like my comfort blanket. I had survived in chaos and drama and relationships, more specifically in like romantic relationships, but even like with work and with like just anything. It was just like, oh, the chaos, oh, the drama, oh, the chaos. And it's not like it was exciting, but I had got so used to it. That's like the everyday norm. Like, this is how life is supposed to work. This is how life should be lifing, is that I need to be sitting in this. And so honestly, when I thought that, back then, when it was actually earlier this year, that I thought to myself, like, okay, let me reach out to the drama and the chaos, because part of me feeling at peace was me disconnecting from someone who was causing that. And I had to take accountability for it. And my thought after I said, oh, I want to reach out to this individual, I said, if you don't sit down somewhere, because we don't need this in our lives, to myself, I said, I really thought about, like, what good is that going to do? If this is something that you've been trying to disconnect from, if this is something that you have been, that has been draining you emotionally, mentally, has taken a toll on you physically, because I'm someone who realized that I'm an emotional eater and I'm an emotional spender. So not only did it take a toll on me physically and mentally, it took a toll on me financially. Those things that, like, I'm talking about in that relationship was not very, wasn't good. It wasn't conducive to a healthy me. And so in that moment that I thought of going back and reaching out to this individual, the same day, the same exact, in the same sentence, two things can exist at the same time. I told myself, what is the point? What good is that going to do? Is it going to allow you to continue to grow, allow you to continue to enjoy your peace? Is it going to make you happy? Or is it that you're so used to this sense of chaos that's where your comfort is? I'm comfortable. The chaos is my comfort. I didn't want that anymore. I didn't want the chaos in my life and the drama in my relationships to be, continue to be the normalcy for me. And then recently, like, I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been, I want to go back to this writing, but I've been doing a lot of stuff. And lately, yesterday, like I said, I talked to my best friend, and she is a tough love McGee. Okay. She is tough love all over the place. I love her for it because we all need some tough love, but I was like, can you just hug me and shut up? Like, that's it. But, I talked to my best friend about me struggling with this feeling and this sense of defeat. And I'm usually not someone who reaches out to, I'm very much so someone who's like, not that I want to just be like this super strong, independent person, but I just, in some ways, I can feel and I have a sense of, I don't want to burden you with my issues. I could talk to my therapist about that. But at the same time, the people that are close to me, I feel like they should also know, especially the people that are close to me that I know have my best interests at heart. I feel like they should know some things that maybe I'd be struggling with, or that maybe I am struggling with currently, or I have struggled with. I talked to her about it, and then when I got home, I kind of felt a little better because, not because of her tough love, because I was like, I'm about to throw my phone out the window. But I was able to talk to my sister. I was able to talk to my best friend, and my sister didn't know, but I was able to talk to my sister, and she actually really did. Although we didn't have a conversation about what I was struggling with, me and her are kind of the same as when it comes to like, we don't really ask for help, which is a flaw of mine. I'm not going to say it's not. I'm not too prideful when it comes to receiving help, but asking for help is a different story. But within the conversation yesterday, she kind of, my friend, she was just like, well, you have to do what's necessary for you right now. And I think that for me, I've always done that. Like, I've always done like what's necessary. And then I get trapped in this cycle of doing the necessary instead of the things that I like and I want to do. Now, granted, I am doing some things that are necessary for me, but they are also something that's enjoyable for me when it comes to like career and just focusing on myself so that I can, be the best source of pleasantries. I could be a pleasant person, be a peaceful person, be a happy person, and allow, me to just have that, me just being myself. What else? But yeah, the sense of defeat, I started to feel, when I felt that sense of defeat, I felt like sabotaging myself. Like, let's go back to this. Let's go back to that. And it's like, but why am I doing this? Why? Because it's uncomfortable? You know how many things I've done that were uncomfortable, that became a normalcy, that was not servicing me, or that was not helping me grow into a better person? Do you know how many things you've done? Like, if you really think about it, how many things have you done that have made you uncomfortable, that has caused more harm than good? Some people may be like, nothing. I don't never. But let's be 100% honest. People are out there that can connect with this, because I know that I've done more harm than good sitting in relationships, sitting in employments, sitting in careers or jobs. I'm going to say careers because they weren't careers. Sitting in jobs that didn't serve me, didn't serve my son, didn't serve anybody around me, because it drained me more than it gave to me. I think that one of the biggest components of me self-sabotaging, to some degree, one of them is this instant gratification that some of us desire, right? Like, for instance, I recently signed up for a boot camp because the gym be gymming, but it don't be gymming the way I need it to gym, right? Like, there are people at the gym. I am someone who is a big proponent for diversifying your exercise and your workouts. I had lost 60 something pounds back in the day. I kept it off for a couple years. I gained it back. Okay. And now I'm at a point like where I really want to, I have my goal, my 12-week, one of my goals for March 21st is to lose 35 pounds. And so I signed up for a boot camp, and they was like, they get you in the door and they be like, I'm about to sell you. And they sold me. I took the bait because I was like, I love this workout. It's amazing. And so every time I leave, I'm sore. And so I was like, I got on the scale. I don't know why I need to stop doing this to myself, because it is, the sabotagery in this is real. I got on the scale. The scale is not my friend. The scale told me to get off a couple times, and I didn't listen. I got off and I got right back on, because you're lying to me. And my goal is to lose 35 pounds by March 31st. So what I've been doing is I drink my water. I've been doing a 75 soft. I think I told y'all about that. So I work out 45 minutes a day, drink my water, drink almost a gallon, 3 liters to a gallon of water, and then eat healthy. But I don't follow like this specific diet. My goal is to eat 90% healthy. Like, I could give myself some dark chocolate if I want, but I really don't. I've been craving more fruits. That's it for my sweet tooth. I forgot where I was going with this. God dang it. Oh, so the first week, this is my second week. I've been going since the 2nd of January. I think I've gone 6 days, no, 5 days out the week. So today I didn't go. I just went to LA Fitness and I got on the elliptical. And let me tell y'all, I pushed myself because I did not want to even go inside that gym. My body is sore. But I was thinking to myself as I was on the elliptical, like, I don't think I'm going to get the results that I want. It's only been a week. So I'm already trying to set myself up for failure and sabotagery. That don't even make sense. And I've already given up on myself 1 week into the 12 weeks that I have scheduled out to complete this task. It's not even like halfway. It's not like, oh, I've done 6 weeks of exercise and fitness and, and I don't see any results. They say the first 4 weeks you see someone else see results. It takes you 12 weeks to see your own results, I believe. And so it's kind of crazy because I'm already thinking like this. I don't want to sit in this. My body has got me to this point, right? This is the only body I'm going to get. I have to take care of it. And I have to show my body appreciation for giving me to the point that I am now. So the self-sabotage in me, we all have those moments where we are, and there was a book that I was reading, which kind of prompted me to do this episode of the podcast called The Leap Before You Look. That's my podcast. It's called The Big Leap. Right. So the Big Leap is really all about living in your zone of genius. And I had read it before, and I'm actually currently still reading it. I'm doing an audiobook version of it, kind of like the follow along. And I've read most of it. And in the book, the author, he's a coach. I believe he's a coach. Talks about how we get to our point. I think I'm gonna actually have a full episode about this book. But anyway, the book is all about self-sabotage. I read a lot. I consume a lot of like personal development, encouraging, inspiring books and information just for myself to learn and all of that. But going back to the sense of defeat, I realized that the sense of defeat came into play because the things that I desire weren't coming to me as quickly as I wanted them to come to me. How about that? Instant gratification, right? And I wouldn't even say it was instant. It was just, it was instant. Let me not lie to myself. And so that feeling of defeat started to transfer into me strategically thinking of ways to sabotage myself. And it's not like the things that I want and desire are bad. They are. They aren't. They're not. It's just a matter of me being patient and understanding that things take time, and that things aren't necessarily going to align with the time span and the timeline that I create. And so me being able to accept two things that I'm working on right now when it comes to the self-sabotage and the feeling of defeat. The first thing is to understand and accept that things do not always work in my timeline, right? Another thing when it comes to self-sabotage is that things don't always work in my time. Another thing is to allow myself to be and sit in the feeling of discomfort when it comes to the positive things. Like, I can look at 1 or 2 things that I've done that may not look like a goal, like my overall goal. So let's specifically talk about, let's talk about weight loss. I would say let's talk about business, because I have a small business. Being able to identify my services, being able to market, being able to create a website, being able to get start to network and being able to have people reaching out to me about my services. Although maybe they haven't signed up for them yet, actually people that are reaching out to me for video editing, writing, social media, and all that. And design, because I do website design and app design, which is what I'm really going more forward towards in video. So people are reaching out to me on LinkedIn, on Facebook about my services, being able to give them and help them with those things when it comes to video editing, marketing. And a few people have reached out to me on LinkedIn, which is amazing. Instead of me focusing on the fact that I have developed systems, I have, I'm coming up with automated systems to market more, to get more feedback, get more clients. I'm focusing on the fact that I just lost a client. So instead of me focusing on those positives and accepting those positives that are happening, it may not be that person that reached out to me, they might not onboard me, but they may be like, hey, I know somebody, I just chatted with her. This surprise is something that you may want to look into. And that's a referral. I'm not looking at that. And why do we do that? Like, why is it that we focus so much on the negative things than the positives? I found that I do that more often than I like to admit, more often than I like. And it's so draining. And that's a part of me sabotaging myself. And I'm going to get back on this, but I want to talk about something real quick. I was on Instagram earlier today, and there was a woman who was talking about, she did like a carousel post about her struggles with loneliness. And how she's been alone for a long time. She's been single for a long time. But she hasn't really felt loneliness. And I kid you not, I don't know about y'all, but, human behavior tells us to go look at the comments, right? Because we're nosy. We want to know, either we're going to contribute to a positive or a negative conversation. We're going to read it. We're going to consume it, or you're going to give it, right? And I got so lost in a negative, I was getting annoyed. Like, why are she's being vulnerable. Like me. She's being vulnerable, and people are like coming for her, which is crazy to me. But then I told myself, I'm not doing that. Go find a positive comment and respond or like. And that's the way I'm starting to realize I have to navigate, is to focus on those positives. Because when I focus on the positives, I start to enjoy the process, which will allow me to enjoy the success to some degree. Because I know even with successful people, we have a tendency to self-sabotage and get to that point where we're like, oh, I'm here. I'm not used to being here. I need to do something that allows me, I'm staying here, like everybody can see my hand gestures. So I'm here. I'm at level 12. I'm at level 20, and I'm not used to being at level 20. I'm used to being at level 15. So I need to do something to get me back down subconsciously, to get me back down to level 15, because I don't know how to live and adjust, or I don't know how, or I can't adjust, or I don't want to adjust to being at level 20. And that's where we sabotage ourselves. And going back to that feeling of being defeated, like for me, the feeling of defeat actually started to make me think of ways to sabotage myself. It made me think of ways to just, I'm going to put this on pause. I'll do it later. No, keep doing what you're doing. Enjoy the process, because as you're enjoying the process, the peace, the happiness, the joy, the freedom, all of that will come out, and people will be happy to be around you. I don't know too many people that are happy being around negative, miserable people. I know I'm getting off topic, but it's the reality. I don't like being around negative, miserable people. When people say misery loves company, that is a true statement. And not only does misery love company, misery will suck happiness dry. I know I've experienced it, and I had to walk away from it a few times. But yeah, that is my conversation, my contribution to self-sabotage and feeling that sense of defeat. And I hope somebody got something out of this. This podcast episode is kind of like just a brain dump, if you will. And so the feeling of self-sabotage. Let me get back on that. Those are a couple things that I had to understand is like sitting in that sense of uncomfortable, and allow myself to look and focus on those positives, because the positive and negatives are it's a part of life. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's going to always be a part of every experience, everyday life. We're going to have positives, we're going to have negatives. We have to acknowledge the negatives because depending on what it is, we can learn from it and grow, right? But I think it's better to champion. I know for me, it's better to champion those positive things. Like I said, building a business, starting a podcast, doing a lot of different things is like, what am I focusing on? Am I focusing on the negative? Allowing myself and allowing yourself to kind of sit in those positives, no matter where you are in the process, it helps you stay consistent. It helps you stay disciplined. As it's helped me. Yesterday, I'm telling you, I had a mental setback and I was like, I feel defeated. My friend, she don't care. She don't care about my feelings. She don't care about me being human. I'm gonna cry. It don't matter. Tough love, sucker, tough love. But being able to sit in those positive moments, those positive steps, the progress that you're making, and that it may not be as quickly as you thought you should make it, but as long as you are moving, my thing is trying to get 1% better every day, right? And I've been doing that, and it helps. I have my moments. We all do. But it's okay to have that moment. It's okay to acknowledge that moment, but you don't want to live in that moment of self-sabotage and defeat, because you will self-sabotage and you will be defeated. One thing when it comes specifically to defeat that I'm working on and trying to push past is allowing myself not to sit in that defeat, is allowing myself to look at my wins and look at how far I've come. Allowing myself to say no to the former me as I have made changes, and actually acknowledging those thoughts as negative, because sometimes we can feed into those thoughts of, like I said earlier, you don't have to write right now. You don't have to this, that, and the third. Or I'm tired. I don't want to. I've gotten to a point where I don't care if I'm up against the ropes. I'm a fight, period. I have to, because I'm not the only person relying on me to be the best version of me, to be my great self, to succeed. And I know there are people that struggle with fear of success. I know there are people that struggle with fear of failure. I am not someone who I've gotten to a point where I don't think I struggle with either, to be honest, at this point. I did before. But I don't know if I can say I don't struggle with either. I'm not necessarily afraid. It's just that I have my moments. I just do. And so I think that being able to identify those moments where you feel defeated, and either you reach out to somebody, you journal, you look at the things that why do I feel defeated? What is something that made me feel defeated? Why am I feeling like I need to go back? What, more specifically to the feeling of defeat? What I did yesterday was it helped me so much, because I stopped feeling that way. I looked at where I was at, where I'm at right now. What steps have I already taken to get to where I want to be? Success. Am I being consistent? What are those things? What does it look like? Right. If you can write out the plan, write the plan, make it plain, right? Write the vision, make it plain. Writing out everything that I needed to do to get accomplished. Okay, now what are some more action steps that I need to get accomplished? Because me sitting and feeling defeat is not going to do anything. It's like me giving myself a pity party. So what exactly do I need to do next to make sure I don't feel defeat? Do I need to reach out to more people? Do I need to market more? Do I need to, network more, give myself those tasks to do to be more successful? Do I need to reach out to more people that need assistance? And what I actually ended up doing was applying on Thumbtack. I submitted, my services on Thumbtack, and I also submitted my services on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is, first of all, business to business and business to consumer, but it's like a professional platform. So I started to look at other ways for me to be a champion and a victor in my defeat, and it helped. Now, mind you, I have to be present. I have to do things that I used to do to push past that. But it allowed me to kind of get past that feeling of defeat. And then when it comes to self-sabotage, like I said, I feel like that feeling of defeat can also push, that it can also contribute to you sabotaging yourself, because now you're doubting yourself. You're doubting your worth in some instances, or you're just overall doubting your abilities. I am not gonna lie. I got to a point. I heard. I don't know if you all saw this, but Quentin Tabb and Oprah Winfrey had an interview, and they both said something that spoke to me, and I said, I don't know if this is something that I can change, but I feel like I am. They said they don't suffer from imposter syndrome. And I'm going to leave it at that, because I feel like that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother episode. Cliffhanger. So thank you guys so much for listening and watching. If you're on YouTube, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Imposter Syndrome. Thank you so much for listening to the Leap Before You Look podcast. We're getting out of our head and into our happy. This is like a brain dump This is a brain dump episode about imposter syndrome and my current struggles with imposter syndrome, and more so my recent struggle with the feeling of defeat. I hope you all got something from this. Please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please make sure you subscribe and download on my Spotify. Review the podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave a 5-star review. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. All right. Bye.